Now, I know I bang on about government ineptitude a lot, but come on, this lot do give us a bit of an open goal on an hourly basis. Adding to that grim list today comes chapter 1056 of Keir Starmer's government's inability to read the room and do the right thing. Asylum seekers will be housed in newly built council houses as part of a push to end the use of asylum hotels. Want to get rid of the hotels, sort the problem out. I know what we do, because lots of people have been protesting at the hotels, saying, you know, this isn't right, not in our neck of the woods, a bit weird, you know, 300-400 men suddenly show up in our postcode, don't know who the heck they are, not a good look. Surely if the local authority and the courts can stop this, then we'll be free of the problem. No. It was never going to work like that, because around 200 local authorities have now indicated an interest in a government pilot scheme that would fund the building, are you ready for this, of new properties. The building of new properties, or at the very least the refurbishment of existing ones to make room for asylum seekers. I mean, imagine being on that council house waiting list in the town you grew up in, the place you work in, the country in which you pay your tax, only to discover that some fella who floated across the channel on a rubber boat half an hour ago has jumped the queue and beaten you to the top of the council house list. That's exactly, there's no hyperbole here, that's exactly where we are on this. 0344 499 1000. I'd particularly like to hear from you if you're one of those people that's on a list waiting what seems like a lifetime just to get a roof over your head. Chloe Dobbs is with us, a political commentator, to talk us through the big stories of the day. And, I mean, they don't really come much bigger than this. I mean, this is almost one of those stories we go, no, they're not. Well, they're going to build houses specifically for people coming across the channel. Yes, they are.
They seem to think that that will satisfy us. The public have said we want the hotels closed, and they've gone, oh, OK, we'll just put them in different accommodation. And one of their ideas is, oh, so we can say that we've closed the hotels. What we're going to do is we're going to buy the hotel and then call it something else so it's no longer a hotel, and everyone will be yippee happy with that. They really think that we're stupid. That we've had ever since Labour came into power, they'll give us statistics to make it sound like they're doing things, and they think that we're dumb enough to fall for it. So they kept on boasting about the fact that they'd deported, 35,000 people that haven't been here. He said, Starmer, he said it in front of Trump, we've deported 35,000 people who haven't been here, who shouldn't be here, therefore we are stopping the boats. And I'm like, hang on, we're not stupid. We know those people you've deported are not people that came on boats. Yes. But they think that we're dumb enough to fall for it. And I think what's going to happen with these council houses is that they will be fast-tracked. So as you will know, and anyone will know, is that building a house, getting the planning permission to build a house is a long, painstaking process. It is impossible. They will reject you for anything and everything. But at the hotel in Epping, when the High Court initially said you have to close the hotel, it was on the basis that the hotel wasn't in line with planning laws, because there are laws that the hotel...
It was the use of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it needs to be open to all of the public, not closed to migrants, it's short stays only. But then when that got overruled, the basis was the Home Office's statutory requirement to house migrants supersedes the planning laws. So I think when it comes to these council houses, there's a chance they won't even have to adhere to any planning laws. They can just build them straight away on the basis that they are fulfilling their statutory duty to house refugees. But then for the rest of us that want somewhere to live, you've got to adhere to every single rule. It's one rule for us and another rule for the Home Office.
There's 1.3 million people waiting for social housing. That's the highest since 2014. So the list keeps going on. There's currently 36,000 asylum seekers in hotels, and around about 71,000 in private sector, what they call dispersal accommodation, so private landlords, etc. And it's those two groups that they want to address. So the best way to address it is to build them some brand new houses. I mean, really?
Why can't we have some houses? The rest, even people who aren't in social housing, the whole country is crying out. I mean, especially as a young person, I think for young people, this is one of their biggest qualms at the moment about the way the country is being run.
You speak for both of us.
is that the chances of ever owning your own home that's bigger than the size of a shoebox is just for the birds. You've got to be a millionaire.
And it becomes more distant almost by the year. So
yeah, and then if it's the case that someone who has just rocked up on a boat can be handed a house free of charge, built super fast for them, it's just an absolute slap in the face.
And even if you don't end up in a brand new house, I mean, the point that's being missed here, and you rightly said it, Chloe, at the very beginning, and I thought, are the government really this stupid? And yes, they are. Do they honestly think that all the residents that have been protesting at the Bell Hotel in Epping, which you alluded to, are going to suddenly go, oh, fantastic, they're not in the hotel anymore. They're all living over the road instead, because there was a field there, used to be a play field, and they built like 70 houses to house the same people. Do the government think that the people of Epping will be OK with that? That they'll be patting the government on the back and saying, thank you so much, Keir, you solved the problem, Governor? I can't imagine.
No, it's just...
I can't imagine this goes anywhere near to addressing the problem. This is the government not reading the room.
No, they're not reading the room at all, and all of their attempts to supposedly smash the gangs have completely failed. And
they don't say that as much as they used to, do they?
They don't say it as much, because I think secretly they know that it's not working. Yeah. And of course we had that period where we had 28 days of no boat crossings, and they were all like, yes, we've smashed the gangs, we've done it, hooray. Yes. And all of us know the weather was terrible, and that's why nobody was crossing. And sure enough, as soon as the weather calmed down, they come across in their droves. Yeah,
hundreds and hundreds. The other weekend, I think it was about 800 just on one day.
Yeah, and have you seen Zack Polanski and Rachel Millward's videos from their trips to Calais?
Oh, for God's sake. Enlighten us, Chloe, because this is going to make me feel bilious, isn't it?
Well, their policy is that we should just scrap all the money that goes towards border control. Just get rid of Border Force and put that all into humanitarian charities like the charities in Calais that help people make their way to Britain. They want completely open borders, no restrictions whatsoever, and just let everybody in.
These people are ill. These people have something wrong with them.
But quite worryingly, they're doing quite well in the polls, this party.
They are doing quite well in the polls.
It's because Zack Polanski he's hypnotising us. You know he's a hypnotist.
He's a hypnotist.
And I think he looks down the camera lens funny or something to try and hypnotise people into believing his
So he's a kind of sort of Darren Brown character of the politics
I'm a bit worried that he might hypnotise us all into voting for him, and
enjoy this new
he might be the next Prime Minister as a consequence.
It is good, but you know what? I blame your lot, Chloe, for some of this, because whilst you might be sane and relatively normal, I think it's fair to say your cohort, your age group, and Finn was telling me this, he's similar territory, he's 24, that group are loving the Greens. They're loving the Green Party, because they used to love a bit of Corbyn, didn't they? They're loving the Polanski.
Yes, young women especially. So you've got a lot of young people rejecting the main parties, and you've got a lot of young men drifting to Reform and a lot of young women drifting to the Greens. And young men and women are moving further and further apart politically.
Who says there's no gender gap? Not a pay gap, it's just a political one.
It's a political gap,
It's just a political one. It is interesting. What I find fascinating about Polanski is that they're sort of talking about him with this, green populism. So he's apparently trying to do a kind of left-wing version of Farage by coming up with stuff that
by having an ounce of personality. That's one reason why they're doing so well in the polls, is that it does... I don't think that Zack Polanski has the most vibrant personality.
Well, that's my point.
I don't think he's anywhere near as vibrant as Farage.
It's not vibrant at all.
To be more charismatic than Keir Starmer doesn't take much.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened, is it's refreshing to hear a politician, even if their policies are as bonkers as his. I enjoy listening to him more than Keir Starmer, because it's a bit more interesting than watching paint dry, you know?
He's not. I don't think he is a good performer, Polanski. I don't think he's very good.
But
I know we shouldn't.
He's vaguely more interesting than Keir Starmer, in that Keir Starmer sounds like a robot, and he sounds slightly less of a robot.
What a thing to have on your business card. I sound slightly less of a robot than Keir Starmer. I mean, that's
but
where we're at.
But it's clearly working for him.
He doesn't even. I don't even think he looks the part. You know, politics is often about optics, rightly or wrongly. We live in the 21st century. You've got to kind of look the part. You've got to have the gait and the swagger. You've got to have the delivery, the mesmeric nature of how you impart information. You've got to have all of those things. If Zack Polanski moved into your street, if it was my nan would be looking through the curtains going, I bet he's on a list. That's what she'd be saying.
A lot of comments about his teeth and whatnot from people.
I just don't think he is the full package. But for some reason, what I say is irrelevant.
It seems like a little kid. He's a student politician. People like him, Zarah, Sultana, you hear the stuff they come out with and you think, oh, it's just some, young lefty idiot, they'll grow out of it. But then you realise these people are actually leading political parties. What's going on?
Well, they're not just leading political parties. I mean, the upshot, the potential upshot, Chloe, of course, is that if, as we often talk about, the right kind of getting together, Conservatives and Reform, to form this kind of centre-right powerhouse that could win elections. If the left did that, so you had Polanski and Starmer, possibly, who's that half-wit that runs the Lib Dems these days? Ed Davey. If you had him as well, put the three together, that could be more powerful than Reform and the Tories.
Possibly.
Now that's when so that would mean, therefore, that Zack Polanski conceivably could become the Home Secretary.
Oh, God help us if that happens. I will be leaving the country.
This is the kind of stuff that keeps me awake at night.
I am a patriot, but if Zack Polanski became Home Secretary or Prime Minister, I'm out. I'm gone.
Home Secretary
but
Polanski.
I mean, on that point of the splitting up of the parties, I'm quite happy to see all these, the Green Party and your party appearing, because as insane as some of the stuff that they say is, they're splitting up the vote on the left. I mean, that is... before, everyone on the left was voting for Labour, and that's why Labour were able to get this huge majority at the general election with a small number of votes, because there was nobody splitting it up like you had Reform and the Tories on the right. But now you've got even more parties on the left than you have on the right. You've got like 3-4 on the left and 2 on the right. So actually the right may have a chance in the next election.
It should also be said, of course, that Zack Polanski is not his real name.
What is his real name?
His real name is David Paulden.
Okay. I always think that's a bit of a...
All right, Dave. That doesn't sound quite as sexy on the dispatch box, does it?
Yeah, but I always think it's a bit of
What you got for us, Dave?
I always think it's a bit of a red flag if somebody has changed their name. Like, it sounds like they've got some big insecurities about their real self, and they've got some sort of personality disorder or something going on. Dave
Paulden sounds like the bloke next door, but does it sound like a Prime Minister? Zack Polanski sounds like something...
So where's that surname from then? I can understand just picking the name Zack because you like it.
I don't know. Is Polanski... It's Jewish by roots. I don't know whether... Is Polanski a Jewish name? I guess it could be. Not exclusively, I would suggest. But I don't know. But he went from Paulden to Polanski and put the name Zack in there.
Yeah, also...
As if people were going to confuse him with the Efron guy.
Speaking of Zack Polanski, the whole scandal over Alaa Abdel Fattah, this Egyptian maniac.
Yeah.
I've been looking on his Twitter and Rachel Millward's Twitter, definitely silenced. They haven't said a thing about it. They're keeping really quiet. I really want to know what they think of... I would have thought that there'd be a tweet up welcoming him with welcome arms from them, but they've been keeping quiet on this one. I think they've seen it wrecking Starmer's reputation, but they're going to have to say something at some point.
At some point they will. Apparently Polanski is his family's Polish name.
Oh.
So that's where it comes from. So he's taken... And David was the name of his stepdad.
Okay.
So he changed it.
Okay. Interesting.
To Zack.
Sounds like a bit of a family feud going on in the background. But
well, there might, I don't know, but Zack Polanski apparently is your man. All-round oddball and top-notch lefty. But you're right, he wants to get rid of the borders.
You're really selling him.
I should be his PR man, shouldn't I, really? Yeah. Don't vote for Zack! That would be my line.
But I mean, speaking of PR, one thing they are doing well is they're just putting out a lot of social media videos.
But I don't know why or how they're doing it.
Keir Starmer's social media videos are terrible.
Yes, have you seen Ed Miliband's?
Oh, don't even get me started.
I mean, they are just...
I might vomit.
They're in another level. You'd think that Dom Joly had written them, you know. It's not good. we're going to take a brief pause. Back with more from Chloe in a couple of moments. 0344 499 1000 is where you'll find us. Your comments as well on the council house revolution. Yes, they're going to build, baby. That's what they're going to do, but not for you. For people who float across the channel on a rubber boat, they'll get a house. You might be at the bottom of the list. Are you on the waiting list for social housing? If so, how long have you been there? Maybe one of your kids is on the list. And obviously there's people with families as well on the list and can't get a brick or a bit of mortar for love nor money. 0344 499 1000. You can leave a voice note there as well. 6:20. This is Talk. It is Talk. Welcome back to the home of common sense. Morning to Dave, who says, not that Dave, this Dave, who says, morning Ian, you implied that Rodney isn't reading the room. The trouble is people don't read Starmer's room. And the sooner we do, all the problems will disappear. Yeah, I think that's probably true. Anna in Surrey, it really doesn't matter what Polanski calls himself. He will always be known as the boob whisperer. And of course, there's reasons for that. I won't explain the full story, but it involves the inflation of boobs. Quite literally, when he was a hypnotherapist, wasn't he, Chloe? That's what he did, Polanski, wasn't it?
Yes. Apparently it was only 50 quid to get your boobs enlarged. It's a lot cheaper than plastic surgery, yeah.
Wow. Did he? Has anybody ever come out and said, hi, I'm Melinda. I went on the Zack Polanski boob inflation course.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a good...
And look at these babies.
I'm not sure if he's got a Google reviews or TripAdvisor, but someone needs to look into that.
Yeah, I think somebody should. Benjamin says, no, you're wrong. Starmer doesn't sound like a robot. He sounds like a bunged-up robot. He does a bit, doesn't he? Tim says, morning Ian and Chloe. It's Tim in Suffolk here. Housing for illegals won't end well. Chloe is right. Getting these... As
always.
I was going to say, an unusual moment on the programme. Getting these through the planning will take years. The objection to consent will be massive. But will they just bulldoze the planning laws? Because
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They will say that the statutory, the precedent that's been set after the Epping case, they have a statutory duty to house asylum seekers, and that trumps all planning laws in their minds. Exactly that. Exactly that. And they've already said, haven't they? I mean, sometimes for good reason, when it comes to just domestic building anyway, that they will, tear up stupid planning rules. And that's fine if you're doing it for good reason and it's the right area. But for something like this, I'm not absolutely sure. Yeah, the other loophole they've been taking advantage of, by the sounds of it, is the Crowborough barracks where they want to house asylum seekers. My understanding is that so that's being challenged by the residents on the basis that they haven't consulted them and told them what they need to about it. And I think that the law that they're using to not tell the residents what they need to about it is because for military sites you're allowed to have secrecy about what is going on there, because normally it's state sensitive information. But obviously this isn't, but because it's a military site, they're able to use that loophole. So they're being very sneaky. There's going to be a lot of loopholes in this story, I promise you. Here's another one that should have you choking on your Frosties in the morning. Freed prisoners committed a record 872 serious further offences throughout the course of 2024 to 2025. That's the highest since records began. And we're not talking about people who did a bit of shoplifting down the Apple store. These are murders, rapes, sexual assaults, etc. Notifications rose 13% from 770 and 51% on 577. Probation supervised offenders responsible for almost 900 violent crimes. And the key point of that is probation supervised offenders. These are the people that prisoners that probation services have got their eye on. Yeah, I mean, I think the average rate of reoffending for any criminal coming out of prison is 38%, so it's already quite high as it is, the chance of reoffending. And so there's no doubt if you let out all of these people early that you're going to end up with a lot more crimes being committed, and then also them planning to scrap prison sentences for smaller crimes where the sentence would be less than 12 months. That's going to mean that there are a lot of people on the streets potentially reoffending who would otherwise be behind bars. And the police are estimating that this is going to be costing them another 800 million quid to cope with what they think would be a 6% increase in crime. So the idea that we're saving money by letting all these prisoners out early, I'm not too sure is going to be the case. It might do in the very short run, but in the long run, it's going to absolutely. I mean, the police are stretched enough as it is. Everyone knows that for most crimes, you call the police and they don't do anything about it. Unless someone literally gets murdered, they won't turn up. Yeah. And this is just making matters worse. And yes, the prison service is stretched, and I sympathise with Labour for the fact that they inherited a difficult situation with the prisons, but I don't think that their approach is right. I mean, the basic, obvious first thing that they should do to free up prison space is take the 12,000 foreign offenders that are in there and deport them. Be gone. But instead we're letting out Brits who should still be behind bars.
And the elements of this, and I talk about this all the time, I stand to be educated on the problem with the electronic tag, which to me is staring us in the face. It's not the full solution, but a big solution. You know, if my dog can be tagged and I know where but if I pick up my phone now, I can tell you exactly where the dog is.
Okay.
Anywhere in the house.
Oh, that's quite good.
There you go. She's in turret number 1 at the moment.
Wow, turret?
Yes, castle. Peering out, Dover. Peering out across the channel. She barks when she sees a boat.
Oh, she's
but if you can track a dog and a pet, I'm pretty sure the electronic tag has been around forever. Apparently they weren't perfect when they first came out. People could cut through them or find electronic workarounds on the system. But surely everyone who is released from jail would be on a tag and a curfew. And I've long said a tag and a curfew has to be, unless there's something about human behaviour, technology and life that I've missed, a curfew and a tag, surely. So you're a kid, you're 16, you're caught carrying a knife. It's not a big machete, but you're caught carrying a knife. You're not going to go to jail, but you should be tagged and curfewed.
Yeah.
Now that's very easy. Somebody in a building somewhere will go, oh look, little dodgepot Mick, he's gone rogue, he's left the house, it's gone 5 p.m, he should be indoors. Send him round there. The old Bill go round with a little detector. There's Mick over there. He's in the park smoking a big one. So we grab him, pick him up, take him back to jail or wherever.
I mean...
Sorry, am I simplifying something here? That sounds to me like it won't be the full answer. There will be people who abuse it. There will be people who ignore it and do a runner. But it has to surely be something in the bigger picture.
Yeah, and we've had all of these people disappearing from places like Wandsworth Prison, not because they've, well, apart from Daniel Khalif, we've had all these people escape, well, not because they've actually escaped, but because they've been accidentally released. If it was the case that when you're released, you're automatically put on a tag for a while at least, then these people who went missing, we wouldn't have had to have had all of these manhunts. We would have known exactly where they are. But apparently, Serco, who are often put in charge of not just the migrant hotels, but all of the electronic tagging, apparently they find it really difficult and they keep on messing it up. So I don't know why it's so difficult.
If you find it really difficult, maybe you shouldn't be doing that job.
Well,
shouldn't be offering your services to governments.
I mean, this is the thing is, it can be good, of course, to have private contractors running government services, but that only works well when there is genuine A, competition, and B, accountability. So if you're doing a bad job, you say, off you go, we're getting another contractor. But what happens is that there is no accountability, and they keep getting the contracts, no matter how bad of a job they do. I don't understand why it is so difficult to get these electronic tags to work properly. I mean, maybe, you know, these criminals are so crafty that they figure out how to hack them and break into. I mean, we do hear that we've got these gangs in prison that teach people how to make bombs in prison to prepare them for their life outside of prison.
There is, as you do, yes.
But
my child, we will look after you.
I'm just thinking, if they can figure out how to make homemade bombs in prison, maybe they're smart enough to dismantle a tag around their ankle.
I'm pretty sure that it could be open to abuse, but I think we can kind of almost counter that somewhat by, you know, it's the 21st century, technology, artificial intelligence. We can track all manner of things. Digital ID is about to come in when everybody's going to be tracked in some shape or form. So surely an ankle tag has to be at least part. I'm not going to be bold enough to say it's going to solve the problem, but it's got to be part of the solution. Unless they just haven't got enough tag. I mean, knowing this lot, it could be that simple. If I put this to the Home Secretary, they go, do you know what? We're out of tags.
Do you know Anna Delvey, she did the big show. This is the fake fraudster, the sort of fake heiress, and there was a huge show about her.
Oh,
she's been released from prison and she's got an ankle tag, and what she's done is she's covered it in in crystals and sparkles, and then she's been doing like the American equivalent of Strictly Come Dancing with this glitzy ankle monitor on.
But how is she even allowed to do that?
And she's been doing all of this like modelling. She's got this great career. It really is a fake it till you make it really works, because she was a total fraudster and pretend to be some like rich princess, and then went to prison for it. But after she's left prison, now she's living that life because she's so famous from her story. And so
I mean, that is
now she's actually making her own money with a glitzy ankle monitor on.
You think
rocking it.
If you've got the ankle
So
monitor,
it can be a fashion accessory.
But if you were a wrong 'un, you'd think the TV people would have gone, well, we can't really put you on a family show.
She's so famous. She's so famous
I've never heard of her.
Netflix show. You've never watched it?
Never watched it?
Anna Delvey. If you watch it, add that to your Netflix list.
Finn, have you ever watched Anna Delvey? He's never heard of her either.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you might be in an echo chamber of one on
No,
this.
it's a huge show. It's huge.
Is it? What's it on?
I think it's on Netflix.
Is it?
Yeah.
Right, there you go. After the news at 8 o'clock, we'll play out half an hour of it, OK? Stand by for that. We're going to move on in a moment, Chloe, to A&E woes, because it's a great story. Well, I say it's a great story. It's a fascinating story. It's really not that great. In fact, it's rather troubling. But we'll come on to it in a second. It's under the heading of These People Live Among Us, OK? That's the teaser. We'll tell you why in a couple of moments' time. It's just gone 6:30. This is Talk. Welcome to the home of common sense. Chloe Dobbs is with us, political commentator, looking through the big and the troubling and the confusing and the unfathomable stories of the day. Here's one that, in a weird way, doesn't surprise me, Chloe, because we do see this kind of data release every now and again. And that's the people that attend A&E when there's nothing wrong with them. Well, nothing of significance wrong with them. 1.9 million people for headaches. 1.4 million for coughs. 1.2 million for sore throats. Earache prompted 1 million visits. Blocked noses, 69,000 visits. 290,000 for constipation.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you'd want to get them out the A&E room as quick as you could, wouldn't you?
So, first of all, I do have some sympathy for people going to A&E with
Oh, you're not one of those
issues,
people, are you, Chloe?
Because you can never get a GP appointment, and they often will advise you to go to A&E. So I have been one of these people, and I felt really
You're on
awful
the list.
So I fell over and I cut my knees up really badly, and it needed to be sorted out. And I called 111 and I said, you know, can I just sort this out myself at home? And they were like, no choice. You have to go to A&E. I'm booking you the space now. Off you go. They were insistent that for some cut knees, I had to go to A&E, and I felt really awful being there. And I had to.
You didn't have to listen to them, did you? You could have gone, oh, actually, I've just grazed my knee.
No, they needed to be cleaned, and I was like, well, can I just do it myself at home? And they're like, no, absolutely not. You won't do a good enough job yourself. You have to go to A&E. But I felt really awful being in A&E with a pair of cut knees when there are people there with bigger. So I have some sympathy. But if you have got a headache or a sore throat, just go to Boots. Get some throat spray from Boots. Okay, go use ChatGPT. Better than most doctors. Although they are clamping down on that now, saying ChatGPT can't give you medical advice anymore. But I often find, because when you speak to the GP, they want to get rid of you as quick as can in 2 minutes, and so they don't look into your problem properly. Whereas ChatGPT will give you the most detailed thing in the world. But I think that there was some girl used ChatGPT as her therapist, and she then ended up killing herself. And so then, after that, they're saying ChatGPT can't give out medical advice anymore. And so now it's getting stricter. But I did use ChatGPT for some medical advice. I was putting all my blood test results into ChatGPT and getting it to analyse everything.
Really?
Well, the thing is when you do a blood test, the doctors won't flag anything and will say everything's fine as long as everything is in range. But the ranges for some of the things, like iron, for example, they're really wide, and you don't actually know where you need to be. So it might be the case that you're, say, fatigued because your iron's too low, but it's not flagged up. But ChatGPT can analyse all of it really, really well and really detailed.
It's kind of bizarre.
Stop going to A&E, folks. Use ChatGPT. That's my advice.
The one I understand more than others on this list, because we've also got people attending for hiccups as well.
What? Just wait it out.
Yes.
It's a hiccup.
Yeah. I mean, the idea that 4,200 Brits who live among us attended A&E
for a whole year, and then I did have
hiccups is extraordinary. However, headaches are trying. I genuinely know a story of a guy that was suffering from really bad headaches.
If you think that you've got a brain tumour on the way, then fine.
He went there and felt bad for weeks, couldn't get rid of it, and ended up collapsing in A&E. And that was the start of the discovery of a brain tumour. So I get that. But if it's just a headache, then, you know, I mean, come on. If you've got... This is the problem.
But that's the thing is you'll call 111 and they will say, oh, you've got a headache, go to A&E. Also, boringly, I've had to do a bunch of first aid courses. And the official advice, what you do with someone on a first aid course, if, for example, if they get a little splint, we've all had a little splint in our finger.
A splint? You
know, when you have like a little bit of dirt in your finger, you need to squeeze it out with a tweezer.
That's a splinter.
Splinter, yes, that's what I mean. Not splint, splinters. That's what I meant to say. I don't know why I said the word splint. But
I thought it was new street talk for a splinter.
The official advice on the first aid course is you do not touch it, you do not get the tweezers out, you call an ambulance.
You call an ambulance for a splinter?
999 and you call an ambulance if you have a
Get out of here.
Yeah. So there were loads of things like that where everything is, you've got to err on the side of, especially if it's in that case where you're, say, an instructor and you're worried about being sued. If you didn't err on the side of caution with something and then something went wrong, then maybe you could get sued, right? Yep. So it's just call an ambulance no matter what.
I did pop into a chemist about a year ago when I had the mother of all sore throats just on one part of the throat, and this thing wouldn't go away. And I thought, I'm not going to book a doctor's appointment for this. I'm certainly not going to A&E. And I quite literally happened to be walking past my local chemist. I thought, I've never done this before. I'm going to go in. And I walked in and I said, can I speak to a pharmacist? It's about a sore throat issue. Well, yeah, sure, no problem at all. Went to this room, woman got a pen torch out, had a little look in the throat. She said, it's an inflamed tonsil, don't worry. You need a packet of these, it'll be gone in 48 hours. And it was. I felt really proud of that. I thought, that's how we're meant to use the system.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you could just go into. I've had many times I've gone into Boots and I've asked for advice. America is a lot better at this. So in order to be a pharmacist in the US, it is almost as high ranked as being a doctor. You do years and years to qualify for it, and for most cases you can go into a pharmacist and get really professional help, whereas here you've got to go to either a doctor or it seems like in most cases you've got to go to A&E to get help for anything.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You can see why some people do it, but I just think I mean, there are professional patients out there that will, you know, the minute something is slightly wrong, they love a bit of medication. They quite like being in A&E. I took somebody else to A&E about a year or two ago, and it was about a 9-hour wait.
Someone left me a message yesterday saying they had to wait 17 hours in A&E.
Yeah, you hear that quite regularly.
It's insane.
And in a weird way, you kind of hope it was, not hope it was significant enough, because you don't want somebody to be ill if they're not, but you kind of think, well, you know, fingers crossed it was the right use of 17 hours.
Yeah. Well,
if you're there for 17 hours and you discover you've got a terrible lump and there's something terrible going on, fine, but, you know, if it's hiccups...
See, that's the thing, is when I went to A&E for my knees after waiting like 6 hours, and it was all the way through the night, so I'd ruined my sleep, sitting there, and there was no space to sit. There were screaming kids all over the place, but you couldn't put headphones on because then they might call your name and you miss it.
True.
And so I just had to sit through this. And then I go to the lady and she says, oh, you could have done this yourself at home. And I'm like... Yeah. Great. A whole waste of my night.
Yeah, but you took the 111 advice, didn't you?
I did. I argued with them extensively, but they were insistent I had to go, and I couldn't do it myself.
For your grazed knees?
Yes.
Well, here's another one that will graze your brain, and that is the use of taxpayers' money on stuff that you really couldn't make up. UK Research and Innovation Funding, it's called, the UKRI, for the aficionados out there, includes millions of projects spent on just the most ridiculous areas of life.
TikTok dance study.
Well, I was about to say, that's the greatest example, I think, in Coventry, a TikTok dance study session costing £199,000.
Wow. And 247 grand on Queer Nature's research on animals and sexuality. I have a friend who did his master's on gay crickets, and apparently, he told me, if I mention it on air, he can show them the clip and he gets more funding for his gay crickets research.
Right.
Because he shows it gets more media coverage, therefore it's important. He might get some cash.
I don't know much about the sex life of
the
a
gay
cricket,
crickets.
but I'm guessing a cricket wouldn't really care where it went, frankly. Skanky old things. They wouldn't. They are nut jobs, aren't they, crickets? I mean, what are they all about for a start? But nonetheless, the idea that somebody got £247,000 to study queer nature, animals and their sexuality.
The other thing on the front of the Telegraph is apparently taxpayers have forked out 41 million quid for this sex bot for Kenyans. So it's this AI tool, and this is how they describe it. It's a Nena chatbot that is a pleasure-orientated digital companion for young people exploring sexual health. And we have spent 41 million quid in a UK aid programme on that.
So is it a programme or is it a physical thing?
I don't. There's this.
And is it good looking?
Well,
I'm a bloke. Sorry, I've got to ask that question.
So there is. My friends were mucking about. There is this app where I can't remember what it's called, but it will give you like a fake AI girlfriend or boyfriend, and you can chat to it and you can talk dirty to it.
Really?
Yeah, and so you have all this sexy chat.
But it's to an app.
Yes, and my friends were messing around with this.
Isn't the experience rather diluted?
We were at a restaurant, and then the waiter came to take the food, and my friends were mucking about with this app, and so they put the phone away while the waiter comes over, not realising that AI is still listening and talking. And then the waiter says, like, "Oh, is there anything else I can do for you?" And the AI, I can't remember exactly what it said, but it responded with something very dirty to the waiter. Yes.
It's Finn's most used app. Did you know that?
I was shocked by how far that thing went. I was there. Yeah. We were in hysterics. But
Finn's got the premium.
It's unbelievable what AI can do.
He upgraded.
But we're all paying for it for these Kenyans, apparently. Apparently, they don't need clean water in Kenya. They just need AI sex bots.
AI sex bots. Yes, £100 a day Finn pays for subscriptions. He gets a very specific service. I think it involves crickets. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Yeah, I mean, it is fascinating when it comes to these decisions. And I come back to the example I always give. So somebody's given further grants, by the way. This is all under the UK Research and Innovation Funding. Includes 1.1 million for intersectional inclusion.
What does that even mean?
Well, intersectionality is one of those areas, isn't it, where this is how you build your oppression points. So if you are... for example, the most simplest example would be if you're a woman, then you have an extra oppression point over a man. So if you're a black woman, then you have 2 points. If you're a gay black woman, you have 3. If you're a gay black woman with 1 leg, I'm not making this up, by the way.
Then you have no hope
4.
in life.
So on and on you go, and that sort of intersectionality.
You don't have 4 limbs.
4.
You said you've got 4. I said you don't have 4 limbs.
No, points. Not lives.
I was joking.
4 points. 1.1 million for inclusive histories. 841,000 on European gay porn history.
That's just ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. I'm not homophobic, but we do not need a load of research on gay porn history. Why? That's insane.
I'm trying to work out which country you would major in on this. If it's European, who are you likely to be looking at going, yeah, I think they probably produced, over the years, more gay porn than anyone else?
I don't know.
Could be that.
I don't know which country is the gayest.
I think the Russians.
There would be a black market, but not a public market for that. Because you can't, being gay is not really allowed in Russia.
Putin's gay.
Maybe secretly.
I mean, he isn't, but it's
starting
probably...
a rumour there. Don't start a rumour that starts World War III. He might get annoyed about that.
Well, that's
comment
why I'm saying it, because I know if you're someone like Putin, that's probably the worst thing you could say to him, curiously. Yeah. So the fact that Vladimir Putin is a practising and raging homosexual, I think is just a matter that should be broadcast as, you know, on a regular basis.
Stop trying to start World War III.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. And the fact that when he came here, Old Compton Street was the first place he went to, you know, that's fine as well. There's nothing wrong with that. GAY opens especially for Vladimir Putin when he's on European soil. There you go. Maybe that's where the research money went. It's extraordinary, these examples. But my point was, just very briefly, is why does nobody around the table, when they're coming up with this funding, go, Is this okay? Why are we giving money to these causes? Does nobody in the meeting... There must be a meeting where they decide we're going to give some money to TikTok dance studies or queer nature or inclusive histories or European gay porn. Someone in the room must go, this ain't right, bruv. Somebody must say that, surely.
If you say that, so... You'll be in a room full of woke people, woke young idiots, and you might have one person who's a bit older and a bit more sensible, and when they say, shall we give 841 grand to European gay porn history, when someone says, no, that's stupid, they'll all go, homophobic, right? And they'll just call names and try and cancel you if you don't give them the money that they want. But there's every penny that we spend has an opportunity cost. Would you rather 841 grand and go to European gay porn history, or to... How many more doctors could you hire with that, for example? How many more police officers?
I mean, that's the only equation you have to ask yourself,
how many more houses?
isn't it?
Just do the maths, and it just doesn't make sense.
Doesn't matter how many governments we change, these kind of studies continue to come out. We're going to take a very brief pause. We're back with more from Chloe in a couple of moments. 0344 499 1000. This is Talk. A lot of comment coming through on A&E wastage. This comes from David. He says, morning, Ian. Chloe's knee story perfectly illustrates the issue. Phoning 111 for cut knees is ridiculous. Get a grip, people. Stop phoning a service whose default is to send you to A&E. Use your common sense and put a plaster on it. This is aimed at you, Chloe.
I thought it was going to get infected.
Well, they made you worried, didn't they? The 111 people made you worry.
I basically said, look, I've got... You know, all this muck from the towpath and mine. I just said to them, I was like, can I just shove some Savlon on it? That will fix it, surely.
Savlon.
And they're like, no, you might get sepsis, you might die, you have to go to A&E. When probably, if I did just douse it in Savlon, I probably would have lived.
This one here from Tony in Stoke-on-Trent, I think is going to probably start a theme that's going to run for the whole morning. And you'll find out why in a moment. He says, I can't believe the statistics on people using A&E for headaches and sore throats. No wonder the waiting lists are so high. But for hiccups, I've known people drink water upside down and all sorts of things. To 100% get rid of hiccups every time. Here we go. This is the one. Take a deep breath. I can tell you, I can stop you there, Tony. Doesn't work. Tried it many times. Almost died. I was in a state of... In fact, my worry of dying while holding my breath was that somebody would have turned up and thought he was in the middle of some kind of act. So I thought, you know, I don't want to be that bloke. So be careful. So get rid of it. He says, take a deep breath. Hold it for 30 seconds, breathe out, and immediately repeat this process. Do this 3 times on the trot, and your reflux will reset. No more hiccups.
There we go. No need for A&E. I've never thought of even going to a pharmacist for hiccups, right?
They are weird, aren't they, when you think about it?
Yeah, but
It's even got a weird name.
It's just a little bit. It's just a little bit annoying. No one thinks, oh my gosh, I might die because I've got hiccups. You just get through it.
Yeah, it's just it's the weirdest thing. Why does the body do that thing? This bizarre reflux. So Tony clearly swears by this method of getting rid of it, and people say, you know, we do it with the kids. You know, my little boy, I say, you know, hold your breath. I say it, I don't really believe it. I just say, hold your breath. And of course he does, because he's 7. He like joins in with this like a military order, and he holds his breath, and his cheeks are all inflated. And then he stops holding his breath, going, can I stop now? It's like, no, by asking me that question, you've stopped.
I do sometimes worry what would happen if one of us got hiccups on air, and you had the whole show of you going, you're better at doing it than I can't do it. I do that for the whole show.
People have different types of hiccups. It's like people have different types of sneezing. You know the overtly macho sneeze.
Some people cause an earthquake when they sneeze.
Well, because they cough when they sneeze. It's like, and there's a cough that goes with it.
It's disgusting, and they splutter all over everybody.
Well, my mate doesn't
splutter. I think they can control it.
But he just makes a heck of a noise. Peter Cardwell is known as when it comes to volume, he can sneeze so loud you think an alarm's gone off.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, oh, that must be the nuclear alarm's gone off in the building. That's just Cardwell on the sneeze. Extraordinary. I think maybe we'll get another story in, but certainly nearly finally. 7 former SAS commanders have warned that Labour's Troubles Bill could destroy special forces by exposing veterans to vexatious lawfare. Let's have a listen to the Defence Secretary. This is John Healey speaking just a few months ago on his plans for British defence.
Plan to put the men and women of our armed forces at the heart of our defence plans. Better pay, better kit, better housing. Through the SDR, we will make our armed forces stronger and the British people safer.
Well, that's the idea, but it doesn't help when decades ago you were out doing your job, and if you're in the SAS, it's not a, it's a fairly dark place on occasions to be. I mean, most of the time you're sat around, waiting for an instruction, but when you have to move, these guys have to do some pretty challenging and grubby stuff. And then fast forward, when you're 70 years old, you get a knock at the door from Plod going, oh, that manoeuvre you were on in the Middle East? Yeah, you're under arrest now for assault or something like that. And you're dragged through the courts as a result. This is happening. Of course, there was a recent case known as Soldier F, who's in his 70s, a paratrooper. He was cleared when the evidence fell so well short in court that it was almost laughable.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, for people like Soldier F, who have had their cases drawn out for years and years and years, for decades, for them just mentally, the toll that anyone who's got a legal case that's caught up in the courts don't understand that the kind of purgatory that puts you through. When you've had this going on for decades and decades, and you're essentially being accused of being some kind of evil murderer when you're just trying to do your job, it's absolutely debilitating mentally. And then the impacts for this on the armed forces and on the SAS is that it means that people will be terrified to take up a job where they have to make split-second decisions, which often may involve killing people, and they have to worry that they may be held to account for that and potentially have their lives ruined and thrown in prison. As no one's going to want to do that job, or people will do that job, but they won't do the risky, daring things that are necessary to take care of some of the terrifying enemies that we have out there. So when this comes at the same time as Labour in the budget, they didn't really announce anything for defence. They had told Trump that they're going to increase the share of GDP. They want Europe to start doing their bit and paying for their own defence. We told Trump, yes, we're on your side and we're going to do that. And then in the budget, they just didn't really bother to announce anything to increase the defence budget. There was a story yesterday saying that we're something like 800 billion behind on defence, which is absolutely astonishable.
Short of the target.
It's absolutely astonishable amount of money. I don't know how on earth Rachel Reeves would ever find that amount, but we're just not in any position to defend ourselves at the moment. And this, on top of that, our derelict armed forces, just makes the situation even worse.
Yeah. Let's finish with a couple of messages here. Sharon says, "Good morning, Ian and lovely Chloe." What's that all about?
It might be my friend Sharon that watches. Possibly.
Shazza is watching?
It might, unless it's a different Sharon, I don't know. Well, there are many Sharons out there.
There's no lovely Ian, it's just morning
but that
Ian
might be why there's
lovely Chloe.
The lovely
sexism
Chloe
going on at this time of the morning. Anyway, Sharon says, "Morning Ian and lovely Chloe. So British taxpayers are funding all this for Kenya. I thought the UK didn't have any money. British people are suffering in this country, yet this government isn't giving me my pension money that they stole from me. I'm a WASPI." These were the women that missed out on their pensions, of course, because of the age time it came in. "I worked all of my working life in this country. I didn't work hard for my money to go towards this nonsense."
Look, with the WASPI women, I think there are arguments on both sides as to whether you should or you should not compensate them. It's a complicated, nuanced argument.
Isn't it?
But what is clear is that Labour are a bunch of liars who can't stick to their word, because when they were on the opposition benches, they were going around, they were taking all these photos with the WASPI women and saying how desperate they are to compensate them and how the evil Tories haven't given them any money yet. And as soon as we get in, don't worry, we'll compensate you. We'll splash cash at everyone and everything. And sure enough, they get in and they quickly forget about all those promises made. But we still have the photo. We've got the photos of people like Rachel posing with the WASPI women, making all these promises.
We'll look after you girls, don't worry.
Yeah, clearly not. So that's why people feel betrayed.
Yep, here's a message from Brett, who says, "I have a theory about the hiccups. I think it's the body's way of training the anti-choking muscles to keep them sharp in case something goes down the wrong hole.